How is childhood cancer different from adult cancer other than age when diagnosed? Children are still developing, so when they get cancer, the body isn't as fully developed to help fight off such things, and developmental problems can occur alongside the cancerous problems as well. It's a double-edged sword to battle both at the same time. Stunted growth, hormone deficiencies, overproduction, and endocrine problems can make fighting cancer in children especially difficult. There are also some types of cancer that are seen almost exclusively in children. IIRC. I'm not an expert, but I did have a younger sister die of a form of cancer that was usually found in children even younger than she was at the time. An adult's body is better equipped to cope with the cytotoxic nature of chemotherapy. They can take a stronger dose for longer and can take more stronger drugs to counteract side effects better. Chemo is a very painful experience. It was bad enough for my wife, so for a child it must be excruciating. There are some types of cancer that are almost exclusively found in children. Many primary brain and bone cancers, for example. These cancers are unlikely to have developed from accumulating DNA damage because they haven't lived long enough for that. There's usually something genetic going on that causes these cancers to develop, and they may need a different treatment. In addition to the physical issues, like how children are still developing, it can be more costly to treat children. Obviously, every patient needs support people no matter their age, but it's especially important for children. An adult has more emotional maturity to be able to handle being left alone if necessary, but a child isn't gonna have that. Not to mention the difference between an adult who is able to make their own medical decisions and a child who can't, which then turns into a larger financial burden for the family because of more limited time to go to work. Where do they stay overnight if their child is in the hospital, etc.? A lot of children's hospitals also have more extracurriculars, art therapy, video games, etc. that focus on boosting a child's morale. Street Jude, for example, has a school program that all ends up costing more money. There are lots of differences. Many cancers that affect children don't affect adults, or do so very rarely. A slow-growing cancer in an adult can be an extremely aggressive cancer in a child. Only 6 drugs have been developed specifically for use in children. The others have since been approved for use since it's all we have, but they were developed for adults and adult cancer. A vast majority, 90% plus, of survivors will go on to suffer serious medical side effects, including organ failure and secondary cancers, from their treatment over the next few decades. A consideration that doesn't affect a 60-year-old nearly as much, given that their bodies are still developing. Chemo and radiation can be even more devastating. A young girl can become completely infertile from chemo decades before she'd even consider having a baby. We have childhood cancers with near 0% survival rates. For the longest time, only 4% of the federal research budget for cancer has gone to childhood cancers. I have no reason to think that has changed. There were no treatment options for my 3-year-old. I would say a lot of people often see children as not mentally developed enough to process why they are going through so much pain, and why their life is ending sooner. Adults are developed, often understand how life works and the inevitability of death. Children barely know the world. As such, it often feels more tragic seeing children go through this process. After 25, the average adult's brain is already fully developed while a child's brain is actively growing daily. A cancer diagnosis will not only affect the cells of a growing child's body but has the potential to rewire and disrupt the child's brain development. smaller. It's more tragic.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.